Have you ever wondered why some men, without being rich or good-looking, still drive women crazy? Meanwhile, others spend their entire youth chasing, pampering, and worshiping women, only to be met with indifference? The truth is, attraction doesn't come from what you own. It comes from how you control a woman's psychology. Women don't fall in love with logic. They are drawn into intense emotions, tension, and mystery, things they can't explain. If you still believe that being nice is enough, you're wrong. Today, I'm going to expose the psychological secrets that make women unable to resist. Once you understand this, you won't have to chase. They will come to you. Watch until the end, because this might completely change your game. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. Do you know the one crucial thing modern men are losing? The power of touch. Not rough, inappropriate touching, but deliberate, confident, and controlled touch. Men today have been brainwashed into fearing their own masculinity, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of rejection. The result? They become bland, invisible to women. But here's what you need to understand. Women don't just respond to your words or actions, they feel your presence through the way you touch them. Touch isn't just a physical action, it's a powerful tool that bypasses logic and awakens primal instincts. The right touch, at the right time, with the right intent, can communicate more than 1,000 words. It signals confidence, control, and most importantly, it triggers deep, emotional responses. That's why men who master the art of subtle touch are magnetically attractive, while timid, passive men are ignored. Imagine this. You're at a cafe with a woman you find attractive. The conversation is flowing, but there's still some emotional distance. Now picture a natural moment where you gently place your hand on her lower back as she moves through a tight space, or lightly touch her wrist when emphasizing a point in conversation. No excessive words, no over-the-top moves, just a subtle, intentional touch. If you do this right, you'll see an immediate shift. She'll feel a deeper connection, maybe even a slight nervous excitement. But she won't pull away. In fact, she might start touching you back unconsciously. That's attraction. Now imagine doing nothing. Sitting there, stiff, keeping your hands to yourself, waiting for some magical moment where she'll suddenly feel drawn to you. You know what happens then? She gets bored. The conversation may continue, but her excitement fades. And by the end of the night, when you try to ask for another date, you'll hear, "I think we're better off as friends." Sound familiar? That's because you failed to create primal attraction. Women aren't drawn to men because of what they say. They're drawn to how those men make them feel. And touch, when used correctly, is one of the most powerful ways to create that feeling. But here's the problem. Most men today are terrified. They worry that if they touch a woman without explicit permission, they'll be seen as creepy or disrespectful. So they play it safe. They keep their distance. They act like perfect gentlemen and end up completely invisible. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should touch women randomly or forcefully. That's not the point. Touch is powerful when done naturally, confidently, and with intention. If you radiate masculine energy, your touch won't just be accepted, it will be welcomed. But if you lack confidence, if you hesitate, if you touch her with uncertainty or fear, she will feel that, and she'll immediately pull away. Here's another real-life example. You're dating a woman. You've gone out a few times, and there's a clear connection, but you still haven't touched her. Not even a light brush of the hand, not a casual arm around her when leading her through a crowd. You just sit there, talking, laughing, hoping she'll magically feel attracted to you. That's not how attraction works. If you don't initiate physical connection, she'll start feeling like you lack masculinity, you lack confidence, you don't know how to lead, and the result? She loses interest. She might start thinking you only see her as a friend, or worse, that you're too weak to take charge. A real man doesn't wait for opportunities, he creates them. He doesn't ask, "Can I hold your hand?" or "Is it okay if I touch you?" He simply does it in a way that feels natural and comfortable. A well-timed, intentional touch can be more powerful than 1,000 compliments. Look at the men who are naturally attractive to women. They don't just sit there talking without any physical interaction. They use body language, they use eye contact, and most importantly, They use touch to create connection. But modern men have forgotten this. Society has convinced them to suppress their instincts, to be harmless, to wait for clear verbal signals before making any move. And the result? They become invisible. Do you want to be one of them? If not, remember this: your touch has power. If you know how to use it, you'll never have to wonder if you're attractive to women. But if you keep hesitating, keep overthinking, keep suppressing your instincts, you've already lost the game before it even starts. Don't let that happen. Don't give up one of your strongest tools. Regain your confidence. Use touch the right way, and let women feel your presence. Women never truly desire what comes too easily. They are drawn to what is elusive, just beyond their reach. This isn't just an opinion, it's a psychological fact, proven both in studies and real-life experiences. The forbidden effect, also known as the scarcity principle, is one of the most powerful forces in attraction. If something is too common, too easy to obtain, it loses value. But if something is rare, hard to reach, or difficult to get, it suddenly becomes far more desirable. The same principle applies to dating. Have you ever noticed how women obsess over men who don't actively pursue them? They spend hours complaining to their friends about a guy who is cold, inconsistent, or distant, but they can't stop thinking about him. Meanwhile, the guys who are always available, who would do anything for them, who are ready whenever they call, those guys are labeled boring and not worth chasing. Why? Because humans, especially women, always crave what they can't easily have. Think about luxury items: a designer handbag, a limited edition sneaker, an exclusive fragrance. When you know something isn't easily available, when you have to wait for it or fight to get it, it suddenly feels more valuable. Apply that same principle to dating. A man who is always available, who always texts first, who always drops everything for her, he's like a cheap product sitting on every store shelf. No exclusivity, no value. But a man who is a bit mysterious, hard to pin down, selective with his time, he's like a rare collectible. And that makes him infinitely more attractive. Take Jake, for example. He's tall, smart, and has a great sense of humor. But he fails in dating. Why? Because he's too available. Every time he meets a woman he likes, he texts constantly, calls every day, and rearranges his entire schedule just to see her. At first, women seem flattered by the attention, but after a few weeks, they start pulling away. Why? Because Jake is too predictable, too eager, and worst of all, too boring. The excitement fades, and they lose interest. Now look at Mark. Mark doesn't text every day. He has a busy life, his career, his hobbies, his friends. When he does text, he keeps it brief but intriguing. When he goes on dates, he doesn't drag them out endlessly. He leaves at the peak of excitement, keeping her wanting more. Most importantly, Mark is not afraid to walk away. If a woman likes him, great. If she doesn't, he's fine either way. The result? Women are magnetically drawn to him. They text him first, they try to get his attention, because they sense that he's a man who doesn't need their validation. Scarcity doesn't just make a man more attractive, it makes women feel like they have to earn his attention. And here's the key. When a woman invests effort into a relationship, she values it more. But if everything is given to her too easily, she loses interest just as quickly. Think about the last time you wanted something but couldn't have it right away. Maybe it was a car you needed to save up for, or a job opportunity that required extra effort. That feeling of wanting it, of working toward it, that's exactly what women experience when they meet a man who isn't easily conquered. They feel challenged, they feel intrigued, and most importantly, they feel excited. But here's the catch. You have to actually be valuable. You can't just pretend to be busy, fake being mysterious, or act like you don't care. A truly attractive man has his own life. He has ambitions, goals, and things that excite him. Women don't want a man whose only purpose is chasing them. They want a man who leads, who brings excitement into their lives. Imagine this. You're on a date. She asks, "Are you free this weekend?" An average guy immediately responds, "Yes, where do you want to go?" But a man who understands his value says, "I have some plans, but I might be able to make time if you make it worth it." Sound arrogant? No, that's confidence. Never act like you're always available. Never make a woman feel like she's your only option. The moment she senses that you have nothing else going on, her attraction drops. Women don't want a man who needs them to feel complete. They want a man who is already complete, and she's simply a bonus in his life. Think back to your past relationships. Were you too available, too eager, too predictable? Did she lose interest quickly? Now think about the times you were less invested, more focused on yourself. Didn't things go smoother? That's not a coincidence. It's human psychology. We always want what we can't easily have. So if you want to be more attractive to women, stop chasing. Let them chase you. Build a life you love. Stay busy with your own goals. And most importantly, never put a woman on a pedestal if she hasn't proven she deserves to be there. Because here's the ironic truth. When you become a man who isn't afraid to walk away, you'll rarely have to. Women cannot resist a man who might slip away at any moment. If this video made you think, hit like now. Comment below. How have you applied Stoicism in your life? Stoic success, unbreakable mindset, total control. If you think women only want a calm, peaceful relationship, you're mistaken. That's what they say, but not what they feel. A woman's instincts don't seek absolute stability. She doesn't want every day to be the same. She doesn't want a relationship that's dull, predictable, and emotionless. Without emotional highs and lows, she will quickly get bored and start looking for something more exciting. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter linked to pleasure and motivation, is the reason drama has such a powerful hold on women. When a woman experiences emotional ups and downs in a relationship, her dopamine spikes, making her feel excitement, attraction, and even addiction to the uncertainty a man brings. This is why women are often drawn to men who are unpredictable and challenging, rather than someone who always texts on time, says predictable sweet things, and never keeps her guessing. Look at the romantic movies women obsess over. Is the leading man ever a plain, easygoing, conflict-free guy? No. He's usually a bit mysterious, a little dangerous, sometimes even hurts the heroine, only to pull her back in with moments of irresistible charm. This creates an emotional loop. When tension arises, dopamine drops, making her feel a sense of loss. When sweetness returns, dopamine floods back, creating pleasure. And just like that, she's trapped in an emotional cycle she can't break free from. The same pattern happens in real life. Ever seen a beautiful, intelligent woman with plenty of good options, yet she stays with a guy who doesn't treat her like a king? A man who isn't necessarily bad to her, but also isn't completely devoted? She complains about him, but never leaves. Why? Because he's unpredictable. One day, he makes her laugh. The next, he drives her crazy, and that's exactly why she stays. Meanwhile, the overly nice, predictable guy fails to trigger strong emotional responses, and she gradually loses interest. Predictability is the enemy of attraction. A man who is always available, always texting first, always saying yes to whatever she wants, he doesn't create any emotional challenge. No challenge, no dopamine. No dopamine, no attraction. Think about the last time you really craved something. A luxury car, an expensive pair of shoes, a hard-to-reach goal. That feeling was strong because it wasn't easy to get. Once you obtain something too easily, the excitement fades fast. Women feel the same way about men. So, how do you create emotional tension without being an asshole? The secret lies in balancing presence and absence. If you're always there, she will take you for granted. If you disappear for too long, she'll assume you're not interested and look elsewhere for excitement. But if you can control your presence intentionally, sometimes giving her intense attention, other times pulling back just enough to make her miss you, you'll create an emotional cycle that keeps her constantly drawn to you. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding how human emotions work. If you've ever noticed, the most passionate relationships aren't the ones that run smoothly from start to finish. They're the ones with ups and downs. That doesn't mean you should create unnecessary drama. It means you should avoid letting the relationship slip into excessive comfort and predictability. Think about the kind of man a woman never forgets. It's not the guy who gave her a perfectly stable life with no emotional highs and lows. It's the man who made her feel, who made her laugh, but also made her think. The man who kept her guessing, who was sometimes hard to grasp, but when he showed up, he did so with intensity that she couldn't resist. Women don't stay for comfort. They stay for excitement. And if you want to keep a woman truly hooked, remember this: stability is important, but drama is what makes her never want to leave. Women don't just hear your voice, they feel it. It's not simply a sound, but a transmitted signal that triggers primal reactions they can't even explain. A man can be handsome, well-dressed, but if his voice lacks weight, control, and presence, his attractiveness will significantly decrease. On the other hand, there are men who are not conventionally good-looking, yet the moment they speak, they make women addicted to them. The reason lies in how the human brain reacts to sound. A deep, slow, controlled voice is subconsciously associated with strength, dominance, and the ability to protect. That is why men with deep voices always have an advantage in attracting women. It is not a coincidence that actors like Morgan Freeman, Idris Elba, or powerful characters in movies all have slow, steady voices. It not only creates a sense of trust, but also increases biological attraction. Women do not consciously realize this, but their subconscious understands it very well. A man who speaks too fast, has a high-pitched voice, or cannot control his tone often creates feelings of anxiety, lack of confidence, or weakness. Meanwhile, a man who knows how to adjust his voice can create the illusion that he is stronger, more valuable, even if reality does not fully reflect that. If you want to visualize the impact of voice, think of a job interview. Two candidates walk into the room. The first speaks quickly, with a slightly sharp voice, lacking emphasis. The second speaks slowly with a deeper voice, adding natural pauses to emphasize his message. Even if they say the same thing, who has the better chance? Of course, the second candidate. The voice carries the message and determines how that message is received. And in communication with women, this is even more important. Intentional pauses are a secret weapon that few men use correctly. When you speak, do not fill every gap with words. Leave moments of silence deliberately. When you pause mid-sentence, women will wait for what comes next. That is how you make her focus on every word you say. Imagine you are talking to a woman. You tell an interesting story, and just as you reach the most crucial part, you stop. 1 second, 2 seconds. Just enough for her to lean in slightly, eyes widening, waiting for what comes next. In that moment, you have drawn her into your story without having to try any harder. This doesn't only apply to long stories. When you compliment a woman, do not rush to say everything at once. Try saying, "You know," then pause briefly before continuing. Or when she asks you something, instead of answering immediately, leave a small pause before you speak. That pause creates tension, and tension creates attraction. Another overlooked but highly effective factor is the rhythm of your speech. Highly charismatic men often have a steady but unhurried speech rhythm. They do not speak too slowly to the point of boredom, but they also do not speak too quickly to the point of losing control. Their rhythm is like an engaging melody, sometimes gentle, sometimes emphasizing key moments, always creating anticipation. Think of the most captivating villains in movies. They never rush their words. They do not need to shout to command attention. They use calmness as a weapon. When they speak, everyone listens. When you apply this to your conversations, you will see women start leaning toward you, looking at you intently, trying to anticipate what you will say next. But this does not mean you should force a deep voice or deliberately speak unnaturally slowly. Women can sense awkwardness immediately. The key is to train yourself to control your voice naturally. If you want to improve your voice, start by slowing down your speech. When you do this, you will notice that you can control your breath better, making your voice naturally deeper and steadier. Next, practice using pauses. When talking to someone, especially a woman, pause for a second before responding. Do not rush to fill the silence. Let the silence do its job, creating anticipation and attraction. A simple yet highly effective exercise is reading aloud passages or speeches from men with powerful voices. Choose a script from a movie or a speech and read it slower than usual. Pay attention to how you use rhythm, pauses, and the depth of your voice. Additionally, focus on your breathing. A deep and controlled voice often comes from men who know how to regulate their breath. When speaking, do not let your breathing be short and shallow. Take deep breaths and allow each word to have enough space to resonate. You can also use recordings to track your progress. Record yourself telling a story, then listen back and make adjustments. You will realize that even small changes can make a huge difference. But most importantly, remember that your voice is not just a sound, it is how you express yourself. A man has a strong voice not because he forces it to be deeper, but because he is comfortable with himself. Women can immediately sense when a man is trying too hard to sound attractive, and that will instantly kill his appeal. If you truly want to control her mind with your voice, start by controlling yourself. When you are confident, calm, and unrushed, your voice will naturally become more attractive. And when you speak, she will not just hear it. She will feel it in every cell of her body. Have you ever wondered why some men, who are neither more handsome nor wealthier than you, always seem to have women around them? Meanwhile, you pour all your energy into one woman, texting her every day, showering her with compliments, yet some other guy barely tries and she chases after him like an exciting game? The answer lies in a powerful psychological rule that few recognize. Women want men that other women also want. This does not mean you have to lie or be unfaithful, but if you understand how human psychology works, you'll see that a man who is pursued always appears more attractive than a man who focuses solely on one woman. Women are highly social creatures. They do not evaluate a man based solely on his looks, career, or personality, but also on how other women react to him. When a man attracts attention from multiple women, her brain automatically assigns him a higher value. Imagine walking into a cafe and seeing two men sitting separately. One is sitting alone, staring at his phone, seemingly waiting for a message from some woman. The other is surrounded by a group of women, engaged in conversation, laughing, and looking completely at ease in his space. Your instincts will tell you which man holds higher value. Women feel the same way. When a man has options, he becomes scarce, and scarcity always increases value. On the other hand, a man who is overly focused on one woman unintentionally sends the opposite signal. I have no other options besides you. And the moment a woman realizes this, she starts losing interest. Not because she is cruel or selfish, but because the human brain is not wired to appreciate things that come too easily. You can see this effect clearly in real-life situations. Have you ever noticed a woman who paid no attention to a man, but the moment another woman showed interest in him, she suddenly changed her behavior? Suddenly, she too felt drawn to him, wanting to win his attention? This is the hidden power of jealousy. But the key is to apply this subtly. If you blatantly brag about how many women are interested in you, or if you try too hard to appear like a player, you will only come across as desperate and cheap. On the other hand, if you naturally radiate attraction by having a rich life, female friends, and enjoyable social interactions without trying to prove anything, women will naturally find you appealing. A real-world example is when you're on a date and other women take notice of you. When the cafe waitress smiles at you, when another woman lightly touches your arm during a conversation, or when you have a strong social network, your date will sense it. And at that moment, her subconscious jealousy will awaken. She won't say it out loud, but in her mind, she'll start thinking, if other women like him, have I underestimated his value? She will begin to feel the need to invest more in the relationship rather than take you for granted. This is why confident men with options always have stronger attraction. Not because they play with women's emotions, but because they don't have to try too hard to gain attention. So how do you apply this principle without becoming deceptive or fake? Build a life that women want to be a part of. Have your own hobbies, connect with people. Create a social life where you are not begging for attention. When you do this, your natural attractiveness will rise, and the hidden jealousy effect will work without you having to force it. Remember, women do not want a man who desperately chases them. They want a man they feel they must conquer. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this video helpful. It's the best way to support me in creating more valuable content. There is a mistake that most men make when pursuing women. They rush. They want immediate results. They want to know if she likes them. They want to eliminate uncertainty by confessing their feelings as soon as possible. But ironically, this very impatience kills attraction. Women are not drawn to things that are too easy, too certain. They crave anticipation, excitement. They want to feel like they are stepping into a mysterious journey, not a straight road with clear signs. Think back to when you pursued a major goal in life. What made you desire it so much? It wasn't because it was easy. It was because you weren't sure if you could achieve it. The excitement, the tension, the push and pull, the feeling of almost reaching it, but then losing it. Those are the things that make desire stronger. Love operates on the same principle. A relationship that is too predictable, too safe, with nothing left to chase, will quickly become boring. When you reveal your feelings too soon, you take away the opportunity for her to feel them on her own. And when emotions don't develop naturally, they cannot grow sustainably. Women crave mystery and uncertainty. They don't want a love story where they already know the ending. They want a journey that they have to uncover little by little. A man who is too predictable will never create deep attraction. If she can predict exactly when you will text, what you will say, how you will react, you have already lost a key element of attraction. Mystery doesn't mean playing games or being cold. It means knowing how to hold back just a little, instead of giving everything away immediately. A truly attractive man is one who makes her wonder about him, who makes her question her own emotions, who makes her wait for his next message instead of being certain that it will come. There is a huge difference between a confident man and a desperate one. A confident man knows his value, knows that he doesn't have to rush, and understands that attraction isn't about how quickly he can get a woman. It's about how badly he can make her want him. He understands that desire isn't created by constant presence, but by appearing at just the right moments. When a man is too focused on one woman, when he is too eager, too available, he unintentionally signals, "I have no other options but you." And the moment she senses this, his value drops. On the other hand, a man who knows how to create just the right amount of tension makes her feel like she has to work for his attention. When she feels that she doesn't fully have you yet, she will start investing more effort, thinking about you more, feeling a need to win you over. This is not a mind game or manipulation. This is simply the way the human brain works. We desire what isn't guaranteed. We value what requires effort. To create the perfect balance between tension and desire, you need to know how to tease, create distance at the right moments, and be patient. A little teasing not only makes conversations fun, but also helps you avoid falling into the trap of worshiping her. When a man only gives compliments, always agrees with everything she says, and never challenges her, she will quickly feel like she doesn't have to put in any effort. But when you tease her, when you challenge her a little, when you don't give her instant certainty, she will feel the motivation to invest in the relationship. Creating distance doesn't mean disappearing or ignoring her. It means you shouldn't always be available. When she texts, don't immediately reply every single time. When she asks you to hang out, don't instantly say yes. Have moments where you are genuinely busy with your own life, your career, your passions. When a man has a full, exciting life, he automatically becomes more attractive. A man who has nothing going on besides chasing a woman will quickly lose his appeal. Patience is the most important factor. Don't rush to end the game immediately. Don't try to skip steps. Let her go through every emotional stage naturally. Let her wonder about you. Let her be the one to initiate sometimes. Let her feel the need to put effort into the relationship. When she feels like she has to chase you a little, when she feels like she's working to win you over, that is when you have succeeded. An attractive man is not the one who desperately chases after a woman. He is the one who creates a space that she wants to step into. When you control the rhythm of the relationship, when you know how to create just enough tension, you will never have to worry about losing your appeal again. Women don't want a man who runs after them. They want a man they have to conquer. Women don't just fall in love with a man, they fall in love with the story he creates in their minds. This is a truth that most men fail to realize. They believe that in order to attract a woman, They need to prove themselves by talking endlessly about their careers, their passions, what they have accomplished, and what they want for the future. But in reality, this is exactly what kills attraction. Why? Because mystery and intrigue are what make women obsessed. Think about the movies women are addicted to, the romance novels they can't put down. Is the male lead ever someone who is completely predictable? Someone who reveals everything about himself right away? No. He always has something that keeps the woman curious. A little distance, a little ambiguity, something just beyond her grasp. That is what creates attraction. When a man shares too much information too soon, he unknowingly destroys the illusion effect, a psychological mechanism that makes women create their own story about you in their minds. If you leave enough gaps, she will fill them in with her imagination. But if you provide every answer immediately, if you leave nothing for her to wonder about, you become dull in her eyes. Imagine reading a book that reveals the entire plot in the first chapter. Would you still be excited to turn the next page? No. But if the book keeps you guessing, if it makes you wonder about the protagonist, his motives, the things he isn't saying, you won't be able to stop reading. Human psychology works the same way. We are drawn to what is incomplete, to stories that haven't fully unfolded yet. Women are the same. When they meet a man, they don't just evaluate him based on his looks or status. They judge him based on the feeling he gives them. A man doesn't have to be the most attractive guy in the room, but if he has an air of mystery, if he doesn't let women figure him out so easily, they will find themselves pulled toward him. One of the biggest mistakes men make is trying to impress a woman by revealing too much about themselves too soon. They think women will appreciate it if they showcase their great jobs, their passions, their interesting hobbies. But this backfires. When you give away too much, you leave nothing for her to explore. And when there's nothing to explore, there's nothing to imagine, and attraction fades. Now, imagine two types of men. The first type, on a first date, talks about everything: his job, his childhood, his past relationships, his future plans. The second type, however, shares just enough to spark curiosity. When she asks about his job, he simply smiles and says, "I have a pretty interesting job, but if I tell you everything now, there won't be anything left for you to discover." When she asks about his past relationships, he casually replies, "I've learned a lot from my past, but I prefer to focus on the present." The second man will always win. Why? Because he creates curiosity. He doesn't give her all the answers immediately. He leaves gaps, and those gaps make her want to know more. The illusion effect also applies to texting. When texting a woman, if you respond instantly and give her too much information, you are destroying attraction. But if you leave a little mystery, if you answer in a way that makes her ask more questions, you will make her think about you more. Compare these two text exchanges. Man A just finished a heavy gym session, feeling exhausted, now just lying down resting. What are you up to? Man B had an interesting workout today. A couple of things happened that got me thinking, but I'll save that story for another time. What about you? Man A gives away everything. There's nothing to question, nothing to wonder about. But man B leaves a gap. He creates a mystery that sparks curiosity. And the moment she asks herself what happened during his workout, he has already made her think about him. One of the biggest signs of attraction is when a woman can't stop thinking about you even when you're not around. And the way to make that happen is not by talking too much, not by oversharing, but by leaving gaps in your story. When talking to a woman, remember that you don't have to reveal everything about yourself. Let her discover things. Let her ask questions. When she asks about you, don't answer everything at once. Hold back a little. Make her wait. When telling a story, don't give everything away immediately. Keep some details vague. Let her be curious. The most attractive men are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who know how to say just enough. You might have an exciting life, a career that most people admire. But if you share it too quickly, too fully, you will ruin the intrigue that makes you captivating. Keep just enough hidden so that women wonder about you. Make them think about you even when you're not there. Let them imagine you in their own way. Because when a woman starts imagining you, you have already entered her mind. And once you're in her mind, you've already won her heart. Stop wasting another day living in weakness and chaos. Subscribe to Stoic Success now to build an unbreakable mindset, master your emotions, and face life like a warrior. Women may say they want an equal partner, a man who listens, a man who treats them as equals in every aspect. Modern society constantly reminds men that they shouldn't control, shouldn't impose, that a relationship can only last when both sides are completely balanced. But if that were entirely true, then why are the most submissive men, the ones who always let women make decisions, who constantly seek approval, the least attractive? The truth is, women's biological instincts crave a man with power, a leader. Not power in a dictatorial sense, not harsh control, but a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to take the lead. That's why strong, decisive men with clear direction always have a stronger pull than hesitant, indecisive men who lack conviction. You've probably been in this situation before. You ask a woman out, and when she asks, "Where are we going?" you respond, "Wherever you want, I'm fine with anything." You think you're being respectful of her opinion, that you're showing consideration by letting her choose. But in that moment, you've lost a piece of your attractiveness. Not because she wants you to control everything, but because she doesn't want the burden of making every decision. Women can be independent, intelligent, and capable, but when they're with a man, they still want to feel like he can take the lead. A man who knows where he wants to go, knows what he wants to do, and doesn't hesitate to make decisions is a man she can trust. Attraction isn't just about looks or humor. It's about the feeling a man creates. A powerful man, not because he's rich or has status, but because he controls his own life, doesn't seek validation, doesn't hesitate, and doesn't wait for others to decide for him, always exudes magnetic energy. But most men today make the opposite mistake. They're too afraid of making women uncomfortable. They fear that if they come across as too strong, too assertive, women will think they're controlling. They're afraid of rejection, afraid of judgment, afraid of being disliked. So they choose to always ask for permission, always wait, always seek approval before taking action. Imagine two types of men. One constantly asks for permission before making any decision, from where to eat to what movie to watch. He thinks he's doing the right thing, showing respect. But in a woman's eyes, he's displaying a lack of confidence, a lack of control. The second man, however, tells her, "I know a great place for dinner tonight. I think you'll like it." He doesn't force her, he's not dictatorial, but he also doesn't wait for her to take charge. He has a plan, he has intent, and he acts with confidence. Who is more attractive? The answer is obvious. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who constantly seeks validation. When you ask too much, when you let her control every decision, you send a message that you lack leadership ability. And if you can't lead in a relationship, how can she trust that you'll be strong enough to protect her, to be her rock when challenges arise? Making decisions with confidence doesn't mean you always have to be right. It means you're not afraid to take responsibility. If you pick a restaurant and it turns out to be disappointing, no problem. You can laugh and say, "Next time, I'll find somewhere even better." There's nothing unattractive about making mistakes, but there is something deeply unattractive about being too afraid to decide in the first place. Attractive men are the ones who don't hesitate to say, "I'll handle this." No need for bravado, no need for persuasion, just action. The power of masculine authority isn't about being overbearing or controlling. It's about creating a sense of security and trust. When a man can make decisions, when he doesn't hesitate, when he can face challenges without flinching, women feel it. It triggers a biological response in them, making them feel both safe and irresistibly drawn to him. If you want to become more attractive immediately, stop asking too much. Train yourself to act instead of wait. When you have a plan, execute it with confidence. When you have an opinion, express it without needing approval. When there's a problem to solve, step up and handle it. Women may not say it outright, but they notice a man's strength in the smallest things. When you order at a restaurant, do you hesitate? When you drive, are you sure of your direction? When you walk into a room, do you know exactly what you're doing? Attraction isn't some vague concept. It's the feeling you create around you. A powerful man isn't someone who needs to prove he's strong. He simply is. And when women feel that, they can't resist. Women often say they want a peaceful relationship, no drama, no instability. They say they need a stable, reliable man who will always be there for them. But if that's truly what they want, why are they so drawn to the men who drive them crazy? Why do they obsess over emotional, dramatic love stories? Why do the nicest, safest men always end up in the friend zone? The answer is simple. Women are addicted to intense emotions. They may not realize it, but their instincts crave emotional highs and lows. A relationship that is too smooth and predictable will quickly become boring. For them, emotions are like a drug. They can't resist what makes their heart race, what keeps them waiting in anticipation, what makes them feel like they're living in a passionate, unpredictable love story. Imagine watching a movie. If the film was just a series of peaceful, uneventful scenes, with no tension or surprises, would you still be interested in watching until the end? Of course not. But if the movie has moments that make your heart pound, unexpected twists, emotional highs and lows, you'll be hooked. You won't be able to look away. Relationships work the same way. A man who is too stable, too predictable, cannot hold long-term attraction. On the other hand, a man who creates emotional waves, moments of excitement, moments of distance, moments that keep her guessing, will draw a woman into his emotional world. And once a woman is caught in that emotional whirlwind, she won't be able to leave. Women love with emotions, not logic. They don't choose a man based on a checklist, like filling out a financial report. They choose based on the feeling he gives them. A man who can spark deep emotions in her will always be more attractive than a nice man who is just there. Imagine two types of men. The first man is kind, always texts on time, always available, always saying sweet things. He never makes a woman worry, never creates any tension. He's an open book. There's nothing left to explore. The second man sometimes makes her wonder, sometimes makes her think, sometimes triggers a little jealousy, a little longing. He's not a bad guy, but he's not too easy. When she texts, he doesn't always reply immediately. When she asks about his feelings, he doesn't just pour them all out right away. He creates anticipation, excitement. Who will she think about more? Who will she obsess over even when he's not around? The answer is obvious. Excitement, jealousy, unpredictability, and emotional highs and lows are what create long-term attraction. A man doesn't need to be a manipulative player, but he must understand that monotony is the enemy of passion. If every day feels the same, if a relationship lacks emotional stimulation, it will eventually fade and die. You might think you're doing the right thing by always being kind, always saying loving words, always being available whenever she needs you. But if you do this too much, you're actually killing attraction. Because women don't want a man who's always there. They want a man they have to win over. Look at the men women can't stop thinking about. They're not the ones who text first every day. They're not the ones who agree with everything. They're not the ones who are too predictable. They're the ones who create emotion. A little challenge, a little unpredictability, something that makes a woman think, makes her want. When a man can make a woman feel every emotion, he becomes part of her mind, an addiction she can't break. This doesn't mean you have to act cold or play manipulation games, but you must understand that if a relationship lacks emotional fluctuations, attraction will fade. You don't need to be a bad guy to make a woman crave you, but you do need to understand that too much certainty kills desire. If she knows with absolute certainty that you'll always be there, that you'll always love her no matter what, that she never has to worry even a little, she will slowly lose interest. You can create emotional tension in simple ways. A little teasing instead of constant compliments. A little distance instead of always being available. A little challenge instead of always being easy. Make her feel like you are a prize to be won, not just someone she can take for granted. Think about the relationships that have consumed you the most. Were they the ones that were completely safe, predictable, and boring? Or were they the ones that took you on an emotional roller coaster, making you feel alive, making you think about that person even when they weren't around? Women are the same. If you want to maintain long-term attraction, If you want a woman who never wants to leave your side, you must understand that emotion is her strongest addiction. Make her laugh, but also make her think. Give her love, but also make her feel like she needs to hold on to you. Don't let stability kill attraction. Don't let predictability make you invisible to her. Make her feel alive when she's with you. Because when a woman feels alive around a man, she will never want to leave him. Modern society may change how people communicate, how men and women work, and how they share responsibilities in a relationship, but one thing never changes. Deep within, women still crave a strong man who makes them feel safe and protected. They may say they want a gentleman, a man who listens, a man who is soft in every situation. But if that's truly what they desire, why are they so drawn to confident, dominant men? Men who make them feel small, yet incredibly secure. The truth is, women don't just want a man, they want to feel like they belong to him. They want to feel like they are with someone who can lead, who can take control of a situation, who can master himself and not be swayed by emotions or their tests. This is why men who are too accommodating, too weak, too submissive, always lose their attractiveness. They think that by always agreeing, always yielding, always putting women first, they will be loved and appreciated more. But they don't realize that this weakness is killing a woman's desire for them, because women cannot submit to a man they do not respect. They cannot feel safe with a man they can control. They cannot admire a man who lacks conviction, inner strength, and firm boundaries. On the other hand, when a man is strong, confident, and holds his ground, women will completely melt for him. When a man doesn't get caught up in a woman's mind games, when he doesn't crumble under her tests, when he leads instead of being led, he becomes the man a woman wants to belong to. Imagine a familiar scenario. A woman is testing you. She might try to make you jealous. She might push you into a pointless argument. She might test your patience. A weak man will react by seeking validation from her. He will try to explain himself, try to calm her down, try to prove he's not wrong. But a strong man will simply smile, look her in the eye, and say, "Are you testing me? Cute, but it won't work." At that moment, women feel your power. They realize you are not easily swayed, not easily manipulated, not easily thrown off balance, and that makes them want to submit to you. Women never respect a man they can control. They may enjoy having power in a relationship, but deep down, they are never truly happy with it. But when they meet a man they cannot control, a man who can say no, a man who establishes firm boundaries and refuses to be treated as an option, a man who doesn't need a woman's approval to feel complete, they become uncontrollably drawn to him. Women want a man they can look up to, a man they can trust to lead. If you let them take full control, if you let them run the relationship, they will start to lose respect for you. And once respect disappears, attraction fades with it. Have you ever seen a couple where the woman constantly belittles the man? She complains, criticizes, and even disrespects him openly. And have you ever wondered why he stays, why he continues to accept this treatment? Because he lost his power from the start. He let her take full control. He let her dictate the relationship, and in doing so, he erased all of his attraction. Now, have you ever seen a woman who is completely soft, feminine, and gentle around her man? It's not because he controls her with force. It's because he is strong enough to make her feel safe, so she doesn't need to take control herself. A woman's instinct is to submit to a man she admires, a man she believes is strong enough to lead, a man she trusts to protect her both physically and emotionally. So how do you activate this instinct? First, don't be afraid to lead. When you make a decision, do it with certainty. When you want to do something, do it without looking for approval. When a situation needs to be handled, be the one who steps up instead of waiting. Second, set boundaries. If a woman tests you, if she disrespects you, if she pushes you into a situation that doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to say no. A man without boundaries quickly loses his value in a woman's eyes. Third, don't let your emotions be controlled by her. If she gets upset, stay calm. If she tests you, smile. If she tries to create drama, don't fall into the trap. When you show that you have internal power, that you cannot be manipulated, you make her feel safe, and that makes her naturally want to submit to you. Remember, Women don't want a weak man they can control. They want a strong man they can trust. You don't need to be forceful. You don't need to be controlling. You just need to become a man they want to follow. When you do that, you won't need to demand submission. They will willingly give it to you. Attraction isn't luck. It's not a gift from the universe. It's the result of how you carry yourself, how you control situations, and how you make women experience the emotions they crave. Remember, the right touch is more powerful than 1,000 words. Never be too available. Scarcity creates value. Drama isn't the enemy, it's the tool that keeps excitement alive. Your voice controls a woman's mind more than your words. Jealousy is an invisible weapon that makes women crave you more. Tension and seduction is what keeps women hooked. Mystery and imagination are stronger than any truth. Authority and leadership are always attractive. Emotion is the most addictive drug for women, and ultimately, women will always be drawn to a man who makes them feel safe and led. You can continue living the same way, wondering why women aren't attracted to you. Or you can take action, become the kind of man that not just women, but you yourself respect. The choice is yours. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.